Hello and welcome to tonight's United View. We're live across YouTube. Thank you for having us on. Thank you for joining us. It's time to talk, really, on a bit of a sad note after the recent results. That defeat against Chelsea yesterday, I think we can all agree it was one of the most frustrating games of the season, yet somehow we can leave it smiling. I don't know how that happens, but there we go. That's what happens when you wait for a bus and then 16 or maybe even 11 come across at once. It really was the worst performance by potential champions I have ever seen in my footballing loving career, so to speak. It's not really a career, it's a life, isn't it? On the show this evening, we're going to go through different panelists. We've got Alan on a bit later, Aidan's on later as well. We've got Dale from Stretty News on with us, and Pete Molyneux also going to be on a bit later on. But let's introduce you to our two main guests tonight. Steve is with us as normal on the Sunday night show. Steve, how are you doing?
Oh, I was a bit delayed. Yeah, good, Ben. Thanks for having me on as usual, mate.
Yeah, no problem at all, even if there is a bit of a delay between me down here in Kent and you up there. Thank you for coming on, mate. And also on with us this evening, it's our lady who you all love, Hayley. Thank you for coming on with us.
No problems. Good evening, good night. Oh, it's finally late.
Yeah, not good night yet. Not like the good night, you're just going to sleep good night. Good evening is in good night. Hopefully you will stay awake for this show. Make sure you comment in the comment box, subscribe and tweet us at the United View as well. Right, let's get on with it, shall we? Aidan, Melvin7, we'll come over to you first, mate. How did you see the game? Very frustrating, or was it a Mourinho masterclass?
Well, I think it's fairly obvious how Mourinho set his team up. He even said it in the press conference that that's exactly how he wanted the game to pan out. That's exactly what he thought would happen. Obviously, as a United fan, I'm sure most of the United fan base would agree that that was frustrating. But ultimately, Mourinho played as Mourinho wanted to, and I think, unfortunately, as though it's hard to admit, I think we played into his hands because we did want to show that we are an attacking team. And, you know, even though we played very well, we had, 71% possession. You know, we dominated possession, we were pressing them very high. We just played it into their hands because all they wanted to do was break up our attacks and eventually score a counter-attack, and that's exactly what they did. It was just a little bit of brilliance from Hazard that won the game ultimately. So, as a United fan, very frustrating, but there's so many positives to take from that match. I mean, I think we've had the most possession at Stamford Bridge that there's ever been since Opta started taking stats, which is a huge bonus. If we can go to Stamford Bridge like we did at Anfield and dominate possession against teams that usually do pass the ball very well, that is brilliant going forward in the future in the final 5 games and also for next season. There's also the fact of how other players seem to play really well today. I mean, Luke Shaw and Paddy McNair were probably the 2 best players on the pitch for United, and they both haven't played in, I think Luke Shaw's last game was Arsenal, and Paddy McNair hasn't played this year, I don't think, and they just looked so comfortable and calm in possession. They were bringing the ball forward, and it was just a joy to watch, to be honest, apart from the fact that we lost, but it just shows that we do have a little bit of depth. I think with our injuries, especially if we had Carrick or Bloom, one of the two, you know, in that holding midfield role, and that would have allowed Rooney to stay forward. You know, we might have had a bit more of a chance, but ultimately I think the injuries and Mourinho tactics really did kill us off. But again, at Goodison Park next week, I'm fully confident we're going to get 3 points. If we play like that, then yeah, Everton aren't going to set out to defend. They're not going to set out to flood the midfield with strong, big players that are going to bully Fellaini out of the game. So yeah, personally, I think we're fine for a top 4 finish. We can fight Arsenal for second, and I'm very confident of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. Next week it's going to be Barry v Fellaini. This week it was Zuma v Fellaini with Matic in there as well. I mean, no confidence taken away for Goodison, I don't think. Hayley, we'll come over to you first. Do you believe in this Mourinho masterclass bullshit? For me, the first 30 minutes was just, it can't have gone Mourinho's way. That can't have been how he imagined.
Right, the thing about Jose Mourinho, he will always set out to get the result first and foremost, and he doesn't really care how he does it. That's the thing about him, you know. He always says the points don't matter. The performances don't matter to me. I want the points and the prize at the end of the day. And, you know, Chelsea were always going to win the league. That's pretty much a fact, based upon coming into that game, how much ahead they were of both us and Arsenal. And he just wanted to get the job done, which is fine if that's how you want things done and you want to play that type of football, which he's decided that he's going to do. And you can't go to a match that you're at home and say, I'm going to play a type of football that's going to have 30% possession and hope to nick a goal. That's pretty damn risky, to say the least. But he did play a type of football that gave him, well, it basically allowed him to say, we're probably going to have less possession, probably nothing like he expected would happen. 70-something percent possession against, I think it was 71 against 29% possession. I don't think it was anywhere near probably as bad as he imagined, but he probably did think, I'll let them think they are in control of the game, and we'll nick them on the counter, which is what happened. But we did absolutely destroy them in terms of possession. We had all the play in the first half, but if you don't put the ball in the back of the net, then you can easily lose the game, and that's what happened. So obviously, as a fan, it's massively disappointing, but there was just something about the game yesterday that left, I think, a lot of fans full of confidence. There was a lot to be positive about. Maybe if we were in a different position at the table, we would have been more disappointed with the result, but we had fought so hard in recent games against Liverpool, Tottenham, that last-minute goal against Newcastle, and what one am I missing? Of course, City game, that we were maybe allowed a result like that, maybe a bit of an unlucky result where we played well but didn't get the result, and that was okay. Obviously, it would have been nice to get a draw maybe, but with the injuries, I think Carrick was obviously a massive miss, and it was just one of those days. But damn, Mourinho, he is a little bit of a, I'm not going to swear, but he is, I just dislike him a lot sometimes. He is.
Hey viewers, fill the gap. He was one of those.
It's just, it doesn't, he's fine with not entertaining. He doesn't care about entertaining. That's fine. But it must be a bit boring if you're a Chelsea fan going to Stamford Bridge week in, week out. But hey, Chelsea fans will be sitting there going, we don't care. We're going to win the title. Fine. We'll do it with a bit of style next season. All right, remember that. A bit of style.
I love that optimism. Do you know what? It's quite funny actually, because as a United fan, a young United fan, I actually quite wanted Mourinho to take the United job. Learning from Steve this year, I've got to say, throughout various chats about United managers, and also watching the way Mourinho not just played football the other day with Chelsea, but throughout this season, and also at times with Madrid, it's just not the United way at all. He's definitely never ever, or was never ever, the right man for United. And I say that now. I don't believe it, and I completely agree with you, Hayley. The Mourinho masterclass is a load of bullshit. Steve, let's come over to you, mate. Coming off the back of that, was you surprised with how well we played with the changes because of injuries?
You know what? I was, yeah, actually, because a lot. Obviously, I think on Friday after the press conference was Carrick and Blind were out, and obviously a lot of talk over the past couple of weeks has been keep the same side and momentum. And you know what? It's worked. You look at the performances. I've been there for a lot of them, and it's been unbelievable to watch. And I looked at the side, and I just thought it's a positive. There's no Phil Jones, Paddy McNair thrown in. Shaw's been back for a while, and you know what? I'd be nitpicking. I'd be absolutely nitpicking to find a fault with United's performance. I was saying all week, United need to put a marker down for next season. Don't want to go there and lose. Don't want to go get there and destroyed. Yeah, United lost the game, but United's performance was absolutely unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I've seen Fergie's sides go down there and not play that well. That's how impressed I was with every single player who played for United on that day. And going back to the Jose Mourinho and the nonsense about him managing this club, I said it on here last week, and I've taken shit. Even with Moyes, what, you wouldn't have Mourinho? Yeah, we had Moyes. Right, Mourinho has never been a Manchester United manager. Bobby Charlton, there's no one better place for me at that club than Bobby Charlton to say that that guy is not a Manchester United manager. Yesterday proved that, hands down. He's sat, but it's Mourinho all over. And let me tell you what it is. The English media let him away with murder because it's an English thing to say. Yeah, we won the game. They were absolute crap. It suits Chelsea because Chelsea haven't got an history. Before 2003, they haven't won a league title in 50 years. 50 years. Chelsea fans aren't bothered about spending 80, 90 quid to turn up and watch that rubbish. They do it all season. Chelsea have been probably a 7 out of 10 all season. They deserve the league. I'm not going to say they're not. You know what I mean? There's no one else who's got close to them. We've been going through a rebuild. Liverpool are crap. As long as Arsene Wenger's at Arsenal, they won't win a league title. It's just as simple as that. He isn't good enough. And I'll go back to the attitude. It's this. They're not bothered how they perform. It's, we got to win, that's it, we move on. It's an English thing to do, and it's no wonder England don't do anything at major tournaments. And I always go back to, I think, when Gerard Piqué left us, one of the first questions they asked him when he went back to Barcelona was, because I think around about 4 or 5 years earlier, Fabregas and Piqué come over to England, as we know. And they were saying, what's it like in England? Because what they were scared in Spain is a lot of players leaving to go to England and learn a different culture. And what Piqué was saying was, I found it strange in England because you can go and win 1-0 and everyone's happy, and we were absolutely poor. And he said, I found it strange. And then I remember all the talk here was, what's Piqué talking about? It's just the result that matters. It isn't. It's the Dutch, the French, the Spanish. They're all obsessed with performing. And these are the guys who go on and win tournaments. These are the guy who wins World Cups, Ballon d'Ors, Euro Championships. I tell you, it's just an English attitude that absolutely winds me up. Van Gaal won't get any praise for that. Van Gaal will not get 1 ounce of praise for that. You saw that in the post-match interview after. The guy was absolutely clueless in what he was asking Louis Van Gaal. He couldn't believe what Van Gaal had said. That was our best performance of a season away, by a country mile. The Anfield result was fantastic. We were unbelievable for the first 45 minutes. We tore them apart. But when Gerrard got sent off, United never pushed and pushed. Yeah, we got the result. Mata's goals were unbelievable. That Chelsea performance was absolutely spectacular. Like I said, I've been nitpicking.
Yeah, well, I've got to say I completely agree. And hello to Pasha, Adam, XBM Gaming. Hello as well to Paul. Hello to Jonas. Hello to Vikash in there as well. Bavesh is in there. Pasha's with us. Daryl, Paul B. Veer is there as well. Mohammed, John. All of you guys in the chat box, get involved, subscribe, comment in the comment box, in the chat box. Let's hear from you this evening on our talking points. Aidan, let's come back over to you, mate. The guys who did step in, Luke Shaw, also Falcao, we'll talk about him later on, so keep him out of your thing. But also Paddy McNair. What did you make of their performances primarily?
Well, I'll briefly go over Falcao straight away. I know he said not to, but just like briefly, I think it just shows that it's just not going to work for at United. He made runs, he tried his best, all right, and it just won't work. That's ultimately, unfortunately, what we're going to have to accept. There's other strikers out there. Falcao will do great for another team, but I don't think it's going to work at United. In terms of Luke Shaw and Paddy McNair, they are the future of United. I firmly believe that. They showed they're both 19, I believe, and they showed that they can potentially become world class. And Luke Shaw, especially as a left back. Daley Blind came in, has been doing fantastically, but Luke Shaw gave his best performance in a United shirt so far. And if he can keep that momentum, keep learning, keep developing, keep uninjured, that's the main thing with Luke Shaw, then he'll certainly become an amazing left back, and certainly he'll be here for the next 10 years if he can keep that level of performance. Obviously, we need to see what happens if Blind's back as well as Carrick. Then does Luke Shaw even get into the starting lineup? That'll be an interesting debate for the preview for Everton. But once we find some team news. But Paddy McNair, again, was amazing, all right? He did a job on Didier Drogba. Drogba's aging, but still, he still had to perform. And, he did it well. Positionally, wasn't really caught out, and he did nothing wrong within the game. He was fantastic. And he brought the ball forward with so much confidence and almost scored. So, I'm sure he'd have got so much praise, along with Luke Shaw from Louis van Gaal. So, yeah, definitely. The youngsters were great.
Yeah, also, Aidan, just quickly, when you touched on Rooney in midfield, what did you make of him playing further back?
I think he did well, all right. It's needs must, really. I mean, Blind and Carrick were injured, so what else are we going to do? Herrera did kind of take that defensive role a little bit more than Rooney, so Rooney was able to get forward a little bit more. But in terms of, obviously that's not his best position, so he didn't do amazing, but he didn't really do too much wrong, especially since he's just a makeshift centre mid. I think he did all right, did well. But yeah, obviously as a striker, he's just much more lethal. Or I say Cam, he's good as a number 10 as well. But any further back, and that's just not Rooney. He wants to get in the box. He's got that predatory instinct. He wants to score, and also he can assist. But in centre mid, I think he's just a little bit wasted. But again, we had to do that due to injuries.
Yeah, no, that is spot on. Well, Aidan, thank you for jumping on and giving us your views, mate. Where can people discuss more with you and see more of you?
On Twitter, Melvin7, and also YouTube at Melvin7 again. So yeah, cheers for having me on, and yeah, it's been good.
Cheers, mate. Thank you for coming on. Some great views there from Melvin, from Aidan. Let's go straight over to you, Alan. We've got a brand new guest on the show tonight. We kind of had a message a bit from Alan. Recommended from Steve, by the way. That's how highly recommended you come today, Alan. You can go and follow him online as well, and let's hear from him now. Alan Remick, how did you find that Chelsea game, mate? Was you frustrated, or do you believe that actually we played very well?
I think we played very well, but we didn't have a cutting edge in the final third. We didn't have that incisive pass where I thought we're going to open them up, where we're going to find that shot. I mean, the only chance I remember of us inside Chelsea's area was when McNair had that shot and Luke Shaw got the rebound and put the ball in. And maybe Falcao's chance, but that was, again, a half chance created out of nothing, really. It wasn't any amazing play. But it's a progress, and yeah, I think we're getting there, slowly but surely.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting, actually, Haley. The Louis van Gaal way. We spent so long asking, well, what is the Louis van Gaal way? What is his philosophy? But we've seen it recently. It's possession, it's nice, stylish football, and it's playing on the attack. What did you make of that whole style against Chelsea?
Sorry, was that to me?
Yeah, Haley, sorry.
Yeah, Van Gaal's philosophy, we can kind of talk about it over and over, and probably without being a player in the team, we'll never really understand exactly what it is he wants, but the kind of gist of everything is to really think about what you're doing. He's always said that. I think that's kind of the reason why Herrera was maybe kept out of the team for large periods, when so many of the fans really wanted him in the team, felt that he would be a massive asset, and he is a fantastic player, but Van Gaal's always about making sure that you think about everything you do in the football pitch before you do it. And the example that I think it was Neville and Carragher were talking on Monday Night Football last week about how Rooney used to want to just sort of plow backwards from the attack, from playing up top and go and get the ball if he couldn't get it. He was that desperate to be part of the the play and be involved. And Van Gaal's had to teach him, where he has to be, when he has to be there, so he can drag the centre backs where they need to be, so that the other players are in a position where they can have more space, they can do more with the ball, and it really is a case of just knowing what he wants when he wants it, and we'll probably never understand just how much there is to it. Yes, possession is you can sort of define the philosophy in one whole kind of generic term by saying you have the ball and play it about, but there's so much more to it than that, and I think just really understanding that the players have had a lot to learn to get where they are, and the first, I guess, 6 months of this season, we've probably been, credit to the team, credit to Van Gaal, he's got us kind of scraped by enough, kind of sitting around 5th, 4th place, just enough so that when the team clicked, we were in a position where we were going to shoot up into that kind of 3rd place. We've done that. I mean, if we had been, sitting in 7th place up till maybe a month ago, when the kind of Tottenham game sort of came and we started really playing like a team, we'd been sort of sitting in 7th place, then that might have been a bit too far for us to try and claw that back. So Van Gaal had us playing, wasn't great, it wasn't pretty, just getting getting by, enough to keep us treading water. And then when it clicked, that was it. We've been really looking like a totally different side. We lost yesterday. I'm not absolutely gutted about it because, as I said, the signs are there for future, and I truly believe that there's something pretty special happening here. It just needs a few tweaks, and I think the team's just going to come on leaps and bounds in the future. Summer onwards, and even the rest of the season. So I don't believe after yesterday there's any reason for any of our fans to be devastated or anything like that. We lost to a good goal, fair play. Mourinho did his thing, and that's fine. But we should keep our heads up, definitely.
I was going to say, what a better time to do them tweaks than in the summer transfer window. Please, let's make it happen. Memphis Depay, by the way, the other day with another amazing goal, may I just say. If that guy is a United player next season, I'm going to be absolutely gutted. He really, really would improve this team, definitely. By the way, guys, quickly, all of you on the panel now, we have got Dale and Pete here as well. I just want to come to you guys with a quick question. Adam, we'll start with you. I want a yes or no answer because I've just been reminded from Daryl to make sure we touch on the Herrera. Well, Mourinho says dive. I don't know where you guys stand with it, but a challenge at the end of the game. So the most simple question, Cahill on Herrera at the end. Alan, penalty, yes or no for you?
No.
Pete, let's come over to you, mate. Penalty, yes or no for you?
Penalty, definitely.
Steve, penalty for you, mate?
Nah, one or a penalty, mate.
No. Hayley, penalty for you?
No penalty.
Right. Oh, we're agreeing. Dale, you've got a deciding vote, mate. Penalty for you?
No.
See, I'm with Pete on this. If that's outside the box, it's a free kick every day of the week, whether it's simulation or not. I've seen penalties given for less.
You know what, Ben? You know what, Ben? The funniest thing about that, right, was Mourinho was Herrera. If that was a Chelsea player that did all this, right? Mourinho's got a very short memory. Another reason why I can't stand him, right?
Yeah.
I remember we got beat at home by West Brom last season. Again, Moyes' finest hour probably. And West Brom were on a phenomenal run. Phenomenal. I think it was late November, early December. We went to Stamford Bridge and they were 2-1 up. 2-1. 93 minutes in, Ramirez froze himself, right, at one of the West Brom players. His arms were up like this. Penalty. It went 2-2 because Hazard had scored. What happened after that? Steve Clark couldn't buy a win for West Brom. He lost his job. You know what I mean? And Mourinho saying, I'm fully with Mourinho. It wasn't a penalty. But would I want any player in the world to try that in the 94th minute? Yeah, to be honest, I probably would, yeah. And to be honest, it wasn't a bad dive because in real time, I was like, I'll have a bit of that, but Mourinho soon forgets stuff.
Yeah,
Quite a small mind all over the place.
It's Chelsea for you, isn't it, Alan? Quickly, mate, just want to quickly touch on the football we played. Do you feel that we could have created more chances in the game, Alan? Do you reckon that actually we didn't really have the players out there to create that much?
I think we missed Carrick. Carrick was the biggest miss out of everyone. I know it's a generic thing to say now, but he's been a marshal in that midfield. He's been botting everything. And Herrera is not a defensive midfielder. We need him further up the pitch. That was our problem. He wasn't disciplined enough to play the role. And because of that, because of the lack of discipline, Hazard went through. And if Carrick was there, Hazard wouldn't have got the ball. So
yeah, I've also got to say, by the way, just touching on that point, I think Valencia needs to take some blame for it as well. I agree too, come across. Sorry, mate, carry on.
Yeah, I agree with that, but if Carrick was there, he would have just dropped between the lines. That pass, I think it was from Fabregas to Oscar, which went to Hazard in the end, wouldn't have got through, and then it would have been the end of crisis, really. Yeah,
no, I've got to agree. But all in all, was you happy with the performance?
I think if you go to Stamford Bridge, have 71% possession. I mean, 2 shots on target. I think we could have been a bit more adventurous on that front, but apart from that, I thought it was a great performance.
Yeah, mate, I've got to agree. Where can people hear more from you, mate? A great debut, by the way.
Thank you. I am at Alan Ramick 03, ALENRAMIC. and that and I'm on Facebook. I'll post my Facebook link on there, and if you ever want to have a chat with about United or anything really, I'm there.
Cheers, mate. Top guy. Alan on the show. He will, of course, be back on other shows. We always get our panels back on. Thanks again. Some great views there. Dale, let's come over to you, mate. Radamel Falcao is a big topic we have given you. Steve is looking forward to this one. I've got to say, we did keep the ball well. We did pass the ball nicely, but we didn't create killer chances. That Rooney one is the one that stands out the most. Well, I thought it was in. I don't know about you guys. De Gea thought it was in. But we didn't create much. Is it right to look at Falcao?
No, I don't think so. Not yesterday anyway. I wouldn't put it just solely down to Falcao. I think at times he looked very good on the ball. I know he lost it a few times too. And we can talk about his period at United, but I put that separately to yesterday. I think I agree with Steve and what he was saying. You need to pick an area yesterday that was really, really poor, that was bad. I think all around were very, very good. But in the final third, I was a bit disappointed. Chances were not made. All around, very good keeping possession. That's one thing. One thing is keeping possession. We have to do something with it too. We were very good yesterday. I was very pleased with the performance. We're the better team by far. The result was disappointing, but I just do think that in the final third, we could have been better. Is that because Falcao was not making the runs? Is it because he wasn't getting the service? I don't know, but the story of Falcao at Manchester United has been a mass disappointment, because I remember the day when it was announced and we had some of the Straight News TV lads at Carrington and speaking to Colombian journalists outside the car park, and I got the text message that it was going to be announced the next hour. I remember feeling like a kid at Christmas. I was so excited because we all know Falcao is up there with some of the best strikers in the world. That's what we thought. And then when he came, it was just a total anti-climax. And I think it's unfair to put it just down to him. You need to consider that before the World Cup, he got a seriously bad injury at Monaco. And the Colombians wanted him to play in the World Cup, obviously, and they rushed his development. And I think we're still with a cruciate ligament injury. It's quite serious, and I think what we're seeing right now is a repercussion of that. I think I read an article that it could take him 18 months to fully recover. So I do think next season when he's elsewhere, you'll see him banging in goals again. But unfortunately for United, it's not going to happen. It hasn't happened. And it's a chapter in his book when he writes when he's retired that he's probably going to be a very short one.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, we'll come over to you, mate. I know you're raring to go on this. Radamel Falcao, I've got to completely agree with Dale there. I mean, he's just not had the rub of the green, has he? However, people blaming him for not getting chances. Well, you need to look at your teammates for those, really. What do you make of all the Falcao chatter?
You know what, Dale's bang on there, and again, what you say, and we've had the same all season. I was saying the same with Van Persie, all up until I think they were at the Swansea game when he got injured. I agree, he was pretty dog shit that day. But all season, we've had so many different formations. Now, I agree with Dale. When Falcao, well, to be honest, the day before the window shut, they're all on Twitter, rumours of Falcao going through. I want it out on my phone. That's going off. Have a day off, will you? Get into work in the morning. Put a deadline day on. Falcao's coming. And I was jumping on grown men. You know, we're embracing it. It was unreal, and because that's what Falcao is. He's an unbelievable striker. Now, when he signed, and obviously we had Di Maria, Blind, a lot of the talk at the time, if you go back, was Van Galacticos. I think they sold it as. And to be honest, I tell you what, Van Gaal's made a few changes. I think within the next few weeks, we're just going to go all out attack. We're going to concede goals, but how can you not score goals with Di Maria, Falcao, Rooney, Van Persie? And obviously Van Gaal chose another route, and we're in the top four. It's coming along now, and he's right. I still think he was right to choose the way he did. The 3-5-2 wasn't everyone's cup of tea. I thought defensive. I don't think a lot realised how bad defensively we were, and I mean the abuse that Falcao got yesterday. It made me laugh because it's probably the same fans who were slating Fellaini last year. Now, I'm no angel. I was slating Van Persie, Fellaini last year. I was in the stadiums watching him. He was terrible. He was absolutely terrible. Ashley Young. And the thing that I'm going to try and point out with Di Maria and Falcao is everyone expected them to, at the level they're at, to come in and just go, boom, we're going to drag you to second, to first, to fourth. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. At the start of the season, we had Fellaini and Young. No one expected anything of Fellaini and Young this season. A few might, but 99% didn't expect anything of them. Probably most of them expect them to be sold because they were dog shit. Di Maria was the man of the match in the Champions League final. Falcao scored goals all over the world. And then, like I say, the setup, it has been chop and change. And I thought Falcao was bright yesterday. And then as soon as he missed that chance, well, even at half-time, fans were going, get Falcao off, bring Van Persie on. And I'm thinking, why? So you can slag him off. Because that's all they seem to do. Just blame it on one. It isn't Falcao's fault.
It's
You
like
put Van Nistelrooy. You put Van Nistelrooy. You put Van Nistelrooy. Oh, that's another talk for another day with Januzaj. It's one of them that it just seems to be. Who can I blame it on? Right. Fellaini was a bit of a scapegoat last year because no one was happy with Moyes. A lot weren't happy after about, I don't know, September. I lost it in February with him. Said he's going, mate. He ain't keeping his job at United. There's no way. And Fellaini was getting worse. The one I always point out was Bayern Munich at home. Rightly or wrongly, I judge Man United players on European performances. And Fellaini was an absolute no-show that night. He wasn't the only one. I'm not getting on his back. And that's what I'm trying to say. They expected Di Maria and Falcao to just come in and do it on their own. The service has been an absolute joke all season. Now, the one thing I'll try and point out with, I said it ages ago as well, 43 million, that's all you keep seeing branded about. If that wasn't in the contract, or that wasn't released to the papers, I can guarantee a lot would not have a bad word to say. Now, you go on to Di Maria's fee, Mata's, Fellaini's, all the fees that we've paid for every player that plays for that club this year. Seriously, how many have performed to that money?
Yeah.
I'd say 3 or 4. De Gea is probably worth 50 million quid, that boy, probably even more. You know what I mean? I think Rocco's been a good buy for the money. Blin, definitely. I think he's been consistent. Luke Shaw was fantastic yesterday in his potential. If you're asking me this season, is Luke Shaw nearly £30 million player? No way. Di Maria 60? No way. Mata 37? No way. Fellaini 27? No way. Jones 18? No way. Evans, he's free and he's been a rip-off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This the thing. It's a strange season. This is a rebuild. I've been saying it, rebuild. I sound like Van Gaal with that, the philosophy and process, right? It's strange because Man United will end up finishing, I think, probably second or third, even if it's fourth. And you go through that side, who was quality all year, and you probably name 3.
Apart from De Gea, who could you name?
De Gea's a freak. De Gea's a side. He has been for 2 or 3 years. Frightening player, frightening. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the boys who are performing lately, Mata, Fellaini at the minute, and all the others. I'm going over what we're on now, 33 games, 30 around about then. Like I say, it's all this fee nonsense. Me personally, is he going to stay at the club? You know what? It's weird because Monaco will not get 43 million quid. I can see why they put it in because they paid 50 million quid, and at the time it was they needed him off the wage bill. What I'm trying to say now. Who in world football is going to pay 43 million for Falcao at a minute? It's a risk. The guy's 29, like Dale's saying, he's cruciate ligament injuries can take a year. I think Fergie kept Roy Keane out of the game for a year. I think Van Nistelrooy was out for a year. Falcao was training with us in September. He only did it in January. Like I said, the World Cup, it does them things to you. Rush back. I've had loads of players over the years get rushed back through injuries. And I think the abuse that Falcao's taking, not just, it's embarrassing from United fans, but the media, you know what, you expect that when you're a United player. You expect that, but some of the flack at him yesterday was a joke. Absolute joke.
Yeah, I've got to agree. And to be honest, people commenting in the comment box, Mohammed, I wonder why Louis van Gaal bought Falcao when our style of play doesn't suit him, or was it for shirt sales? I think you can't prejudge that though, can you? Lee B says, let's face it, the only one who's laughing is Falcao's agent. I do feel for Falcao, but he is done. Go to Italy. Hello to Adam, who says Falcao's been relatively poor, but with capital letters. You have to understand that he's been in the side when there's been injuries in creative areas. Hello to John, who says Falcao just doesn't seem like he can hold off the Premier League defenders. Pasha says El Kitty for us at the moment and will be El Tiger for his next club. Also, hello to, let's have a look through here. Let's have a hello to Darren Mouse, who says Falcao is a 20 million player max. And what about another year loan for Falcao from Iowa? I've seen a few people say that, but we won't talk about that for now. Hayley, I'll quickly come over to you. Do you think Falcao will be at the club next season, whether it's an extended loan or we sign him permanently? Do you see his United career, well, do you see it as over?
I think that he's probably had his kind of, it's harsh to say his chances up, because as was said by Steve, you know, it's been up against him for a number of reasons, and it's not fair to kind of abuse him, and you know, there's a number of reasons, injuries, all sorts of reasons why he's not been banging in, you know, goal after goal all season. But that said, if we're going to take it for what it is, I don't think he'll be here next season. I think we're going to let him go. Monaco will do whatever with him. He'll probably, in my opinion, go to somewhere like Juventus. Who knows? Somewhere abroad, maybe Italy, and probably do quite well. I think after a bit more time, and which will be possibly frustrating. You know, we can't tell the future, but I think the club will let him go and buy someone younger. Whether we'll buy someone expensive up top, I mean, Christ, please not Cavani. That's definitely not what I want to see. But it's whether we'll buy someone. I can see Steve laughing there. I can see he's laughing at the Cavani comments. But whether we'll buy someone like Ings, just go cheap, just to have as a kind of a bench player, and just to have someone who is happy to be a sub. Although Ings has been kind of kicking off recently, saying he's not going to be a bench warmer. So don't know what's going to happen with that. But I can't really see, if we're going to play 4-3-3, we're going to play one up top. I'm not sure how we can we can spend 40 million on a world-class striker and then have him on the bench all the time. We're not going to bench Rooney, so there's a lot of stuff up in the air up top. But ultimately, with the Falcao situation, I just don't think it's going to be wise to spend the money on him. It's just too much of a risk, and you know, Monaco aren't going to let him go for pittance, are they? So it's just a real shame, because everybody wanted him to do well. You know, it was a massive thing when he signed. You know, he was one of the greatest players, you know, one of the greatest strikers around a couple of years ago, and I think maybe his injury has just done him. But he may go and do well for somebody else. If he does, I wish him all the best, but I don't think it's going to be in a United shirt. We'll see.
Yeah, let's just hope it's not in a City, Chelsea, Arsenal or Liverpool shirt, by the way.
No.
That would be the risk, wouldn't it? That would be the risk. Dale, I mean, we're talking with you about Falcao, with Steve and Hayley's views there as well. There's people chatting today, and I think a few people mentioned on Twitter earlier on in the conversation with Steve about extending the loan deal by another year, maybe. Would you go with something like that? Would you pay a cut price fee for him of, say, 20 million? Or do you think that really it should be pastures new for club and player?
The name is worth over 20 million, but what we've seen this season, unfortunately, isn't so. No. It's a tough one, because I do expect him to go on again next season and start scoring goals again. Well, it's one of the comments that you read out saying that what was Van Gaal thinking, bringing Falcao in didn't suit his style of play. So wrong on so many levels. One, Falcao, who we know in Falcao before he came to United, would fit into any football team. He'd score goals in any football team. The injury, of course, and other things affects that. Falcao, or Louis van Gaal, coming into a new side also, he has to lay his philosophy down. There's also bringing new players into that team, and it's also players that have already been there, learning with new players and a new manager. That takes longer than 1 year. When you're coming into a side with a big name or not, with a big injury, you know, these things don't happen overnight. And how can you have a go at a manager for bringing in Falcao when you have the opportunity to do so? It's not. He was Falcao. I mean, getting mixed up in my words right now, but Louis van Gaal wasn't sitting there saying, Falcao, I'm not having him, when he's one of the best strikers in the world. You have to, it was a great deal to get a player that on loan. It hasn't worked out, so you move on. These things happen in football. You know, Varane happened, didn't work out, and a number of big players have come and gone from big clubs, and it hasn't always worked out. That's just football. Unfortunately, we haven't seen the best of Falcao, and I think it's time for him to move on.
Well, you said then it didn't work out. Are you talking in past tense about Falcao now? Do you believe his United career is over?
Yeah, without question.
Yeah.
Gone, yeah.
So who to replace him then? Rumours of Ings. Obviously, we don't want to go too much into transfers. With Cavani, can't hit a barn door compared to most, but Higuain apparently up for grabs as well. Do we look for a second choice striker? Do we bring back Chicharito? What do we do?
You see, the interesting thing about this squad at the moment is we're playing with one striker, really, Rooney. And United in the past, we've always started with two, so there was a need for 4 or 5 in the squad. And I think we're playing with this system. I think we could afford to have 3. We already have Wilson. I don't think we'll see Van Persie at the club next season, nor will we see Falcao. And I think if that's the case, and we won't be seeing Hernandez back, I don't think we should do. It didn't work out at Madrid, didn't work out with us the last 2 seasons, so he's gone. I would consider a player like Ings. Comes in, very cheap. Wages, very cheap too, compared to other strikers that would be on our list. And he'd be happy to play second fiddle at a club like United. Rooney at the moment, we've seen this season, I know he was decent yesterday, but he's not a midfielder. Should be played up front. And since we've changed that around, we're seeing the results big time. So he is our main man up top. The likes of Wilson still is very young and can come through. Danny Ings is only 22. So I think a sign that wouldn't make sense. Someone that can come to United and just be in awe at the size of the club and just want to work very hard to work your way into the team. Not these players that come with these big salaries and expect to walk into any team, whether they're performing or not. We don't want that. We're playing one striker at the moment. I think 3 in the squad will be more than enough.
Right. Fair enough, mate. I've got to agree. Sorry, I was reading then. Apparently, it's been confirmed that Luke Shaw was taken off against Arsenal in the FA Cup due to a back problem. Sorry, he was not unfit. So apparently, Luke Shaw at the moment is constantly struggling with a back problem. That's why he's spending time out of the team. Sorry, I was reading that down and I kind of went into a different world a little bit. But no, I've got to agree with your Falcao points. I mean, in terms, he has been given a chance, hasn't he? And the extended loan deal, paying money for him, it's just all a bit of a thing for me. Danny Ings he fits his profile for United, but he'd be very cheap as well. Thank you for coming on, Dale. We've got to move on now. Where can people find more from you, hear more from you, etc.?
I'm everywhere.
Like a rash.
You can follow the blog, StrettyNews.com, Stretty News on Twitter, and the same on Facebook. If you're on it, listen to podcasts. We have a StrettyCast, which is available on iTunes, so check that out. Thanks,
Ben. Very good. And Dale works very hard as well. It's brilliant for United community. Cheers, Dale. Let's move on to our man in the light, Mr. Pete Molyneux. How are you doing, sir?
I'm fine, thanks, Ben. Listened to that very intently. Enjoyed most of it.
Yeah, most of it.
No, I agree with most of it, I should say. I enjoyed it all.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Pete. Means a lot coming from you. I mean, let's talk straight about the Chelsea game now. I'm getting muddled up. It feels so long ago, doesn't it? It was only yesterday, 5. What did you make of it? Was you very frustrated?
Yeah, frustrated because I mean, it reminded me very much of the game at the Etihad.
Pete Molyneux, how are you doing, sir?
I'm okay.
Oh, wait a second. Sorry, that was lagging out a bit. Go again.
Was that a heckler?
No, it wasn't. It was Pasha who was kissing his badge. There we go.
No, Pasha. Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the game at the Etihad in November, was it? Where we were up against the top team at the time. We'd lost key players. We battled on regardless. Had a lot of possession. That dominated possession. And played some really neat football, I thought, yesterday. And took the game to Chelsea. But in the end, we just ran out of steam, of luck, and time. And one touch of brilliance won it, and for Aguero, Reed Hazard. So, yeah, frustrating. But, as has been said already on the show, that's how Mourinho set his stall out yesterday to ensure Chelsea didn't lose. He just needed a point, really, to make sure that nobody could realistically catch Chelsea. And I think he'd have settled for a point, and in the end he got a bit more. But it wasn't pretty to watch, and I think we saw yesterday a very good example of why Mourinho didn't get the job at Old Trafford in 2013. It's a shame, really, because with the money Chelsea have got and the pulling power now, they could build something very effective and also beautiful to watch. But they don't do it. And Mourinho didn't do it when he was there first time. I think when he got sacked in 2007, it was just after Chelsea had played Rosenborg, I think, in the European Cup Champions League. And they had 25,000 at that game. United had a routine league game in the Champions League the night after and got 75,000 like we do. And that really sums it up. 75,000 turn up to see the style of football we play, and 25,000 turn up for a Champions League game at Stamford Bridge because of the football Chelsea play under Mourinho. So I wouldn't swap places with him in the long run, and I think United will move on and move up.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Hopefully we will. I mean, Pete, was you disappointed with the lack of chances we created in the game?
Yeah. It's funny. I watched it again on Match at Day last night, and it always looks better because in a very short, a 10 or 12 minute slot, there was about 5 or 6 chances, and that seemed a lot. But over 90 minutes there wasn't. But the problem is we're not taking the chances away from home. I think at home now we've scored 40 goals, and away we've scored 19. So you never scored as many away as at home in any season. But we should be scoring more than 19, which is just over one a match. So at home, he's fixed it, Van Gaal. Old Trafford, not quite a fortress yet, but it's hard to beat United at Old Trafford. It's hard to come and play at Old Trafford again. And we score 2 a game. Away from home, it's not been the same. There's been plenty of games when we've not scored any. Burnley and City, Chelsea and a few others. So, but I'm sure he'll fix that next season. He's in the first stage of the rebuilding, as a couple of you people have said tonight, and I think he'll fix the strike force away from home next season. But that's at the moment all that needs fixing. Another 10 goals would have got us the title this season.
Yeah. It's mad looking back, isn't it, at the games? But hey, we're all a bit fickle in that sense, aren't we? We all go back and have a quick look and wonder what if.
Only 6 defeats so far, Ben. You know, that's on a par with some of the title-winning seasons. You know, so there's much to be happy with, especially the way we're playing this last 6 games. We're playing the United way.
Yeah, no, I've definitely got to agree. I mean, Steve, is that something you're seeing as well, especially after the Chelsea game as well? We're playing the United way. We're doing it the United way. We're playing, you know, players like McNair, players like Shaw as well. And people turn around and say, oh, Shaw's a lot of money. He's not, like, so to speak, a United-made player. But when Rio came to the club, paid that much money for someone, and they show potential. Would you say the United way is coming back?
Yeah, it's not a traditional United way. We're used to wingers flying down, whacking crosses in. And it'd be fast, counter-attacking football. Van Gaal's different. But what the United way is referring to, United are dominant and they win games. And obviously the last 6, United are dominant in possession. I still think they look good in possession. I know we had 71% possession against Chelsea. Like you say, I don't think there was that many clear-cut chances. But I remember us having 65% possession against Everton away last year with Moyes. But I don't even think we got to the edge of the box. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of differences. And I think that's what I'm referring to, the United way. But this is a United way, and this is a Van Gaal way as well. We bought him in for a reason. You know what I mean? We haven't just bought him in for a year, and if it fails, sack him. Honestly, I'm telling you, I was convinced that if a guy finished 5th, didn't matter 6th, he won't go in anywhere. I know it's expensive for Man United not being in the Champions League, but it's even more expensive when you sack another manager. He comes in with more ideas, and then he's got to go out and spend more money that United haven't got. They were backing him all the way. I'm 100% convinced of it, and he's just proving everyone wrong now. I agree with Pete in the sense that United haven't been unbelievable away this season, but I think a lot of them were far ago. If you look at the games that United have actually kicked on, I think you've got the Liverpool game there. I think Chelsea. I think Pete's bang on. United will be judged next season. Where Van Gaal's turned Old Trafford now into. I mean, the place is bouncing again. United expected to beat big sides when they come there. It isn't just a fluke. We've had some great result against the big sides. Even when we were playing shite in November, we went to Arsenal. Arsenal were crap. Then Arsenal were coming out and saying, "Oh well, that's the worst Man United side I've ever seen." And I was going, "Yeah," and they've just beat you. That's how crap you are. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was laughing before Christmas. I was going into work saying, "I tell you what, how none of you sides are beating us, mate, is laughable. I tell you, because once we kick on, you'll be scared. You'll be scared." And you can see it now. Even Mourinho will win the league by country mile. I was convinced it was over in October. That's just the coach he is. But there'll be a lot running scared next year. Some of them sides around us are going to have to make some huge changes and spend some big money to stop this side next year.
I've got to agree, the fear factor is definitely back. And even the papers, for so many months they were talking about how bad United were on the pitch. Now all they're doing is making up stories about how bad they are off the pitch, and how, they're all handing in transfer requests, and how Luke Shaw isn't even a good footballer and he hasn't got any potential. I mean, come on.
It's great. To be honest, I've seen United fans slag off Luke Shaw, though.
It's ridiculous.
I remember one a couple of weeks ago saying, "Well, we need a right back, a centre back, a midfielder, and a striker. We might need to replace De Gea because he's going." And I'm thinking, Jesus, you're a negative bastard. You know what I mean? We need a new left back as well. And I'm thinking, hold on, we just spent one on an 18, 19-year-old kid. Yeah, he's shy. Blynn's outperforming. I'm thinking, yeah, Blynn's done well at left back. He can read the game. I like him. He's a really good footballer. I think he's been absolutely bargained by. But you look at Luke Shaw yesterday. That's what Luke Shaw was all about.
Yeah,
he was doing that at Southampton. He'll do that for England. He'll do that for United. Dribbling at pace. He'll beat you like you're not there.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Man of the match for me. Man of the match for me the other day.
Yeah, I'd probably agree.
Brilliant. I've got to quickly say hello to Farden Footy, who sent us a tweet, right? This is for you guys as well. Watching FTL Strikers on Xbox, watching the United View on the iPad, drinking Samuel Adams beer and cooking ribs on the Big Green Egg. Sunday fun day. I love that. That's the reason why we do this show. Thank you so much for watching, guys. But we're not over yet. Hayley, we'll come to you. Another great performer, I've got to say, the other day for me was Chris Smalling. He's really bossing that defence at the moment, isn't he? He looks like the leader at the back for us. What do you make of Chris Smalling yesterday?
Yeah, I was impressed with Chris. I was just going to say, before I go into Chris, well done to Steve. Steve's loving it. He's all positive. Going to take over the world soon. Steve's there. Look at that smile. I can see it. Yeah. He's buzzing. Yeah. Steve's there.
Yeah, he's loving life.
Yeah. Chris Smalling is he's literally come on leaps and bounds after say everyone remembers the sending off against City, which was a bit of a horror day for him. A lot of players have them even the best, but at that time Smalling had certainly not warmed the United fans' hearts, let's put it that way. He had been put into the side and hadn't really sort of stepped up performance-wise. So after that game, there was obviously a lot to prove, and he's really done that. I think he came in alongside young Paddy McNair yesterday, but you've got to say McNair was brilliant yesterday as well. The two of them, I think, you can't really fault the defence, despite the fact that how often have McNair and Smalling played together as centre backs this season? Have they played together at all? I really don't know. I don't know the statistics, but I don't know that they have. But I'm certainly starting to really grow confident in Smalling, and I personally would genuinely be happy with the likes of Hummels or somebody of that quality come in the summer and have Chris Smalling partner them in defence, because if he keeps continuing the way he's going, he looks confident. He's bringing the ball out from the back, and he's just stepping up from looking a bit of a nervous character before. I can't fault anything he's done recently. I think the difficulty with Jones and Smalling was always injuries, and there was always that kind of ability to make a mistake. Jones still has that probably more than Smalling. They're not perfect players, but as far as Premier League defenders go, I honestly believe that Smalling has been one of certainly the top 5 in the last few months in the Premier League. So it's great to see, because I don't want to have to see the club go out and rip apart the squad in the summer. You know, we've started to build something and it's looking so positive. I don't want to go out and see, 7, 8 new players come in this summer, which isn't going to happen anyway. It's just not going to be on the cards. But it's not what we want, because why tear apart something that is actually looking so promising? So it's great for Chris Mullen. It's great for Paddy McNair. He did so well yesterday, being thrown in the deep end, and actually no one's mentioned Antonio Valencia. I think a lot of praise should go to him as well. He looked solid yesterday. The defence, that was just that one moment yesterday that they were torn apart by a moment of class from Hazard, but I don't think that was a problem. I think we really, if we could have taken our chances and created more, but I think a lot of applause and a lot of credit has to go to our defence yesterday. And Van Gaal turned our defence around from the start of the season. We were jittery. We literally looked like deer in the headlights. Christ, we could have scored at any moment. I mean, that Leicester 5-3, I still have nightmares about that. I wake up in cold sweats. Brutal. And it's just, it was a dark, dark time for us. And thank Christ we've moved on from that anyway, I tell you.
I was going to say, Hayley, even from back then, and you can elaborate on this, even McNair looked like a totally different player the other day.
Yeah, he did. He
just looked so mature.
Shaw was, I haven't even mentioned Shaw. Shaw was my man of the match. I think Steve touched on that. He was solid defensively, but he was so menacing in attack, and I think he was our most positive attacking player, which says a lot, considering Mata, Young, at one point Di Maria was on the pitch, and he was bursting down the wing. He put some balls in. He wasn't always going for the option to lift the ball in the air and to have it across to try and make some instead. He pulled it back for Rooney. Rooney might have tucked that shot away. I thought it was in. De Gea thought it was in. He was celebrating, and he just looked dangerous. He really did. We're not talking some. With all due respect, we're not talking a Burnley or West Brom defender here. We're talking Ivanovic, Chelsea defenders, and he gave them a nightmare. And exactly what Steve said is right. We have fans. I saw on Twitter recently a fans, not just one but several fans saying, Shaw's no good, absolute waste of money. We need a new left back. And regardless of the fact that at the minute, 30 million is a lot of money, but he'll pay that back. Just give him a bit of time. He's a great player, and it's harsh to say that he's useless because he's had some trouble with injuries. He's a great player, and he'll come good. I have absolutely no doubt.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And Paul B says a back 4 of Klein, Smalling, Hummels, and Shaw. Yeah, that does sound tasty, doesn't it, to be honest? Saying that, though, if we're going to pay the money for Hummel, I would pay the money for Otamendi. I'll be in 2 minds there. It's going to be a difficult transfer window for United. They need to bring in that one centre-back for me. They just have to. Above all else, that one centre-back. Pete, either way, after that Chelsea defeat, where do you stand in terms of our Premier League finish? Do you see us finishing 5th, 4th, 3rd, or 2nd?
2nd or 3rd now, Ben. I think we're capable of, 2nd, because I think we'll just get back into it now for this last 5 games, get some decent results. The important one will be beating Arsenal. So I'd take 2nd, even 3rd, that'll get us automatic qualification into the Champions League. And if you think where we were, 12 months ago, 6 months ago, Van Gaal has turned it around, not in the sense of put United back where Fergie had us, but he's given the players belief in themselves again. And Steve and Hayley have just articulated there how a number of players now they've just got that confidence back. And you've got to give Van Gaal the credit for that. There's an old saying that a rising tide lifts all boats. And I think that's what Van Gaal's done. He's brought these players back up to their almost their full potential again. So 2nd or 3rd place finish, playing decent football, and really mouth-watering prospects for next season, no matter who we get. I just think this guy, Van Gaal, is made for Manchester United. He's big enough to manage well on the United stage.
Are you excited?
There's only been 2 or 3 managers like that in 136 years, so We should treat him with respect.
I was going to say, Pete, sorry, you was talking there with a huge smile in your face. You're excited about the future under Van Gaal then?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Why wouldn't we be? Yeah. He knows what he's doing, and I like the cut of his jib. I like not only what he's done. I think he's given all the players a really decent chance this season. He did suffer dreadful injuries in that first 3 months, and I know that sometimes sounds like an excuse. You know, every team that's never won the league has blamed it on injuries in the last 50 years I've been watching. But he did have some awful injuries. He's given them all a chance. He knows what he's doing. I think he's already got his plans set for next season, for the transfer window, who comes in, who goes out. There may be a little bit of negotiation to be done. But sometimes you've got to look at a guy and see if he's fit to manage on the biggest stage. And Louis van Gaal is. And then again, sometimes the little touches. I wasn't down at Old Trafford when on the 6th of February they sang the Flowers of Manchester outside the memorial. But Van Gaal came out and stood with the fans and talked to the fans and sang in with the singing. I've never known a United manager do that, and that's not knocking them. He's just got the feel for the fans, for the club, for the city, and just what it means for us. And I just think we've just got to give him time, and he'll deliver for us in the next two. Sorry, he'll deliver in the next 2 or 3 years a title again and probably a Champions League, I think.
Yeah, no.
But I've not put my house on it then.
It will be exciting times. Anyway, guys, if you want to unmute, I just want to ask you each a question. You can stay unmuted then. Dale's still with us. Alan is still with us as well. Steve, if you want to unmute. Hayley, if you want to unmute. Alan, if you want to unmute. Alan, where do you see us finish? Blunt answer, please. Second, third, fourth, or fifth? What do you reckon?
Second.
Dale?
Second.
Hayley?
Second.
Pete, you said second.
Second, yeah.
Steve?
Top 4.
There we go. Guys, by the way, quickly, just before we go, can we quickly, just everyone, I don't usually ask for crowd participation, but can we just quickly put our hands together, please? Just everyone now in the call, just put your hands together, please. Well done, Paul, on another brilliant performance today. The Scouts has done their fans proud, their team proud, the city proud. They couldn't even beat Villa at Wembley. Small club. Sorry, that's all I wanted to do. As there's no common United, I thought I'd take the piss out of the Scousers. It makes a weekend better when Liverpool fuck up like that, doesn't it, really? Anyway, that's the show done and dusted.
You're desperate to break into a chorus of and Gerrard screwed it up.
He did, didn't he? He did absolutely screw it. To be honest, though, I don't know if Steve can take any more talking tonight on the show, to be honest. I think actually the rants were quality tonight, the topics were quality, the guests were quality. We absolutely love that. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Pete, just quickly before we go, where can people find more from you, mate?
Oh, quite simply, at Pete Molyneux. Simple as that on Twitter. And on Facebook, but I usually deal with Twitter mainly.
Oh, what a legend.
Happy to hear from anybody.
Oh, what a legend. We love Pete. Thank you, Pete. Hayley, where can people hear more from you?
Heels, HAYLES_101.
Thank you again, Hayley. And Steve, where can people hear more from you, mate?
At SGCW7. And Wednesday marks the 1 year anniversary of David Moyes going as well, so make sure everyone has a drink on Wednesday.
I always find him
I'm not laughing.
Yeah, serious.
It's a serious day. Steve's got it in the calendar.
Yeah.
And it's on the calendar.
This time last year.
What's wrong with that?
Well, there we go, guys. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments below. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Thanks again to Alan. Thanks again to Steve. Thanks again to Hayley. Thanks again to Pete Molyneux. Thank you to Dale. Also, thank you to Pasha for steaming in the call and nearly speaking on us. That was great. I would have accepted it after a win, but after a loss, I'm not so forgiving. Also, thank you to Aidan and Tom. Unfortunately, couldn't make it because of internet problems. That's all from us. Back Wednesday, 10 o'clock, with another United preview ahead of the Everton game. For now, from us all, it's goodbye. Have a good week.